Hey guys, Jeff here, Dice Setters. So we were in Vegas last weekend, and I used to like Harrah's. And we still stay at Harrah's sometimes, we still walk through Harrah's, we still play at Harrah's. And I had this interesting thing happen to me. We talk about pet peeves and what we don't like, and I've told you the worst thing you can want to do is get into a fight with the pit boss. Because all that does is just make your blood pressure go up, and then when you go to roll the dice, you're not going to be thinking about no 7, you're going to be thinking about, man, that pit boss sure is stupid. That's kind of what happened to me. I didn't even get to roll the dice though. We were going through Harrah's, saw a $15 table. There was one person playing here, 2 empty spots. My wife and I took the empty spot, and guy was rolling. Not a time to sit there and throw out your money. And the pit boss sat there and said, "Hey, one of you's got to leave." And I didn't understand why he would even be saying that, because there's that one guy, 2 people, 3 people on one side. So why do I have to leave? Why do one of us have to leave? I have money in my hand, and I have not put the money down yet because there's a guy throwing. And it's like, huh? What are you talking about? Finally, it dawns on me, somebody else came up to the table. So there was one person, my wife and I, and somebody else came up to the table. And so instead of kicking that guy off, they kicked one of us off. And now I'm mad, and so there's no sense of even playing. There's got to be a right frame of mind to play. If you're not having fun, you're not going to make money. If you're not making money, you're not going to have fun. It's kind of a vicious circle. There's times that you just have to sit there and walk away. Sometimes you have to walk away for a day. Sometimes you have to walk away for 2 or 3 days, a week. But all I can say is that when that happens to you, don't play. Because you're just going to get mad, irritated, and you're not going to do well. And the show I'm trying to put out, and the channel I'm trying to put out, is how to make money. How to leave the craps table not broken, but with money. And I might not can give you every strategy and every thing all at once, but I can give it to you a little bit by here, and you can sit there and say, hey, what you said I can use, or what you said last week I can use that. And I hope that's what I'm doing. So last week someone made a comment that they didn't think my dice roll was they thought my dice roll was random. And so I brought a baseball bat, and I brought this beautiful picture because we're high tech here. This picture here is I was going to do MLB, but then there's copyright laws, and I didn't want to be banned for using something that MLB created, so I created my own. I didn't copyright it, so if you want to copy this, you can. But this is home plate, third, second, first, and there will be a shift. They will do a field shift, which basically means that this guy here that is batting, he might only throw 10% of his balls through here after he gets on hitting it. But however, majority, he'll do 60% here. So what they'll do is they'll take third base and they'll move third base guy, out to here, because there's no reason to have him here if only 6% of this pitcher or this batter bats here. So it's all about strategy. It's all putting your people where you know the person is going to hit. So here goes a bat. This bat, David Peralta, it was opening day. This is his opening day of this year bat. And they have a way of holding it. And it's kind of like, I guess, like a golf club. Everyone has a certain way of holding it. But if you always hold it the same way, I guarantee you that you're more than likely going to have the same results. Even though they have a shift, like you see, and say like third base, there's nobody, absolutely nobody on third base. There's nobody that can even stop a ball going down the line of third base. For people that don't hit third base, they just can't do it. it's everything they can do to hit the ball, and they're trying to project it out. But to change it from where they normally project it to, say, no one's standing at third, is very, very hard. So they have a beginning. They have a true beginning. This bat, of course, is an axe head. Only certain players use it. It is legal in MLB. But they all have a beginning. And they'll have 10 of these bats when they travel away, just in case if they break a bat, need a bat, whatever, everyone's got their own bat. So when you can use that strategy to craps, when you're throwing, you have a beginning. And like I was showing from the last time, I'm going to use this F as my beginning. So if I'm using this as my beginning, it truly is no different than a baseball player using this grip as the beginning. It doesn't seem to matter if it's a right-handed pitcher or a left-handed pitcher. This shift is still in play. Granted, it might be slightly off if it's a left-handed or a right-handed pitcher because the way the ball comes at them. But they don't sit there and have a shift for left-handed pitchers and a shift for right-handed pitchers. They just have a shift for that player. They have a beginning. And that's how he is able to duplicate over and over. And that's what we're trying to do here. We are trying to duplicate no sevens. It doesn't matter what, anything but a seven. Truly, that's the only thing we're trying to duplicate, anything but a seven. But eventually, if this is the same, and I'm able to throw it consistently at the same, eventually it's going to be just like the shift. Yes, there's going to be times I'm going to hit the seven. But there's going to be, I'm going to hit the, certain numbers more than others. Whereas without having a beginning, without having, a certain flow, whether it's really high or where I'm just throwing it, that all plays into the results of what we're getting. And so random would only be just no beginning and you don't care. That would be a totally random. I even looked at the word random. What is the opposite of random? It really truly doesn't, but unrandom. Truly, it's an adjective. Random, the opposite of random, unrandom. Truly. And so once you understand that baseball has randomness, they always hold it the same, but the pitcher is always different. But yet you can still get a shift working. Same thing with no matter what table I'm at, as long as I have a beginning, it might be slightly different, but I know if I can master it here on this table, it would be sort of close at other tables. I'm not going to say it's going to be exact because it's not. I know it's not, and you know it's not. But a random throw is truly just what you think it is. Just randomly, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how I get it to the end. It doesn't matter how I start it. But anything that has a beginning, you cannot say it's random. It is actually a controlled roll. Random and controlled are not opposites of each other, but we call a roll that is in perspective of you're in control of it. This would be dice setters, a controlled roll, not random. And I hope that there's some things in the automotive world that I can't explain to you. I just know it works. I know if you have this, it's going to work. How it all works together, I'm not for sure. I'm not that kind of a guy. I can only work on them, know how they work, and fix them. But it doesn't mean I fully understand every little thing. But I do know if we have a starting, and if we're adamant about trying to place it there, we will have numbers that will go higher than other numbers. My 5 will come up more times than, say, my 8. And hopefully the 7 will never come up. But we know that's a lie. The 7 will come up. So the start of having a controlled roll is this. You are fidgeting with the dice. It's the same fidgetiness of it You always have the same numbers up here, and it doesn't. There are some times I'll start with the 2, and then from the 2 I'll sit there and I'll roll the 3, and then from the 3 I'll roll the cross 6, and then from there I'll start back at the 2. It's not random. I am going in a pattern. It's continually doing it. That way I'll get more numbers, but there's always a start, and hopefully the dice end up where they're supposed to be, and that'll be the finish. And that's what we're looking for, so that we can win more, is to know what we have to do to keep the 7 from hitting. What works for you won't work for me. What works for me sometimes might not work for you. It's a give and take. That's why it's really cool is when you're trying to find a table and you find like Harrah's or whatever it might be that does have the bonus, the all tall small. You can throw a couple bucks in there and they will keep score of how well you are throwing, because it's a payout. They're looking to see if you can roll 2 through 12 without a 7. And that's what we're trying to get here. You're going to win more money if you have a beginning, if you have an end, versus random. And that's all I'm trying to get to. So once we can sit there and determine the other players that are playing with us, which way are they doing it? I will sit there and put money down on somebody that does sit there and has a way of setting the dice a certain way, and always, same flow. They know what they're doing, versus someone that's just, if you have to put money on the table to keep yourself at the game, you would put money probably on the don't for someone that just picks up the dice and throws it. A lot of times you'll have people that throw into the hook. This area here is called the hook. The hook on most tables is really hard to get into because you'll have a mirror that's placed here. And when you get really close to it, you can actually hit the mirror. I've never seen anyone ever break the mirror, but I've heard the pit bosses sit there and say, hey, don't roll that way, you're going to break my mirror. I don't know what happens when you break the mirror. Never seen it. But I've actually had them say, don't do that to those people. But if you watch somebody, they might not have a beginning to say, but they can pick up the dice and they can roll it into the hook and get fantastic results. They are also doing a controlled roll. They might not have the beginning, but they have where it's going and how it's going to hook around. It's the same thing. They just don't have the beginning, the starting of it. They don't have the, okay, I want to have, this and this up, or whatever. They could be completely random, but then as they throw it, it will go along the table and curl out. And sometimes they'll get 10, 20 rolls, and they don't place the dice on the table and get them in the same orientation. They just pick them up and throw them into the hook. How are they able to do this, you say? I have no idea. The bone thrower has done a lot of research into this, because why practice throwing over and over and over again if you have these people that can come to the table and roll into the hook without any practice whatsoever and get your all tall small, or get 10 points, take their points down, and then 7 out? I don't have an answer for you on that, but I do have an answer that is a controlled roll, because the ending is always the same. It's not the beginning. So given that, you have to open up your parameters a little bit to who's doing random and who's doing controlled. And someone who's just doing random, not doing it into the hook, just whatever, really hard for me to put money behind them. But if somebody is like, hopefully you and I, that sits there and takes time, that we have it exactly the same, our fingers are only going to go down to a certain way, those are the people I'm looking for. If you want to make money at the table, those are the people that you should be rooting for. Those are the people that you should put money behind. Those are the people that, when it's their turn to roll, you're going to have money on the bonus. I hope that cleared up some confusion over randomness, non-random, controlled dice. It's not fair to sit there and say you must have A, B, and C for it to be controlled, because you don't. You can have controlled only through this section. Or you can have control here, and then who cares how it goes that way. There's many different levels of control. But random is truly random, and non-random is everything else. I hope that cleared that up. I hope. Anyhow, if you happen to be in Vegas, not next week, but the weekend after, I will be there. If you want to sit there and play craps with me, even if it's at Harrah's, I sit there and be willing to do that. Share some stories, sit around, whatever you want to do. Hopefully it makes me a better craps person, and I hope you learn something. That's what I hope we do for each other. But give a thumbs up, smash the like button, and if you like it, subscribe to it. If you don't like this video, I hope that there's another video in here that you might like and be able to like that one. But anyhow, till next week, I'll see you next week. Have a good one, guys. Bye.